Hello, this is Miss Riley's Maths Videos. Welcome to Miss Riley's Maths Videos, and I'm working in your ordinary level class. We've got a test on Thursday about factorising and about solving quadratic equations. So I've got a list of questions here, which you'll see in a minute. In algebra, it's very difficult to know what we're being asked to do and what type of question we're dealing with, because it doesn't say in the question. Okay, it gives us some instructions, but it doesn't tell us what. If it says solve, obviously it's an equation. Is it in a quadratic equation? It is if it's got an x squared and an equals. So you're going to find values for x and you're going to factorize. We solve quadratic equations by factorizing first. So if it's got an x and then you solve. If it says factorize, what they mean is find the things that multiply together to give. We sometimes talk in our class about to the questions. So what we're trying to do is work out what must have multiplied together to give the thing that they're asking us to factorize. If it's got x squared and if it's got x squared in two terms and a minus, that's a minus sign, then it's a difference of two squares. If it's got two terms right across, it's a highest common factor. And if it's got four terms, then it's a grouping. And I'm going to go through each of those now because there's an example of each of these. Okay, here are the questions. So somewhere else and you haven't tried the questions, here's the questions. There's the first five. You might want to pause the video now and do those questions. Five. Okay, I'm going to work them through in my copybook, but I suggest if you haven't done them yet that you pause and you do them in your copybook. And so here's the first one. Factorize x squared plus 8x plus 12. So let's notice it's got an x squared. It doesn't have an equal, so it's not a solve. It's got an x squared and 8x and 12. There's nothing in common right across, so there's not a highest common factor. It must be a product and sum. Okay, now product member is going to end up with two brackets, x and x. That's what we're aiming for. This is my product number. My product number is, and my sum number is plus, it's the middle one, is 8. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply together to give 12 and add together to give factor spider, and we've been listing the factors 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And we've been looking to see in these 3, 4, in these pairs, are any of these pairs going to add together to give me 8, my sum number? 1 and 12 is 13, that's no use. 2 and 6. So then my two brackets are going to be x plus 2 and x plus 6. Now, let's explain to ourselves what that means. That means that x plus 2 and x plus 6 are the two brackets that multiply together to give this. And some idea comes from. When I multiply this out, this is x squared plus 6x plus 2x plus 12. X. Do you notice the 12 I got by multiplying these two terms? That's why we call it the product number. The 6x plus the 2x, the sum of 6 is a product number, or sum number, sorry, a sum number from. So when I factorized, I looked for two numbers that multiplied together to give 12 and added together to give 8. So that's my answer. Now, factorize x squared minus 4 squared. There's two terms. There's an x squared and there's dots. Okay, which means the difference of two squares. Difference is the difference. Two squares, that's squared and that's squared. Now, if we have x squared minus y squared, the factors are x, y. You just have to learn that the factors of x squared minus y squared are x minus y, x plus y. Now, do you notice here, I haven't got y, it's going to be x minus 4 by x plus 4. Okay? The first minus factorize. Okay, 1, 2, 3. For there's 4 terms, there's nothing in common right across, and there's 4 terms. When I factorize something by grouping, what means it means I put them in groups where there's something in common. So these two have a in common. If I factorize these first two and I take out the highest common factor, it's a. What do I need to multiply by a to get 3ab? Now, what do I need to multiply by a to get minus at? Well, first of all, I need minus. Then what's missing is the t. So plus. Now, what's in common here? C is in common. Take it out, open the bracket. What is C? 3b. And I need minus, and C to become TC, I need that to be a T. Now, do you notice here, when we do factor in bracket twice, and what we say, that is actually a common factor for that whole thing. Or you can just say to yourself, well, what I do now is T, that's gone, that's gone. What's left is A plus C. I know those are difficult, okay? Factorize x squared minus 25. Now looking at this, there's an x squared, there's 2 terms, and there's a negative, there's a minus. It looks like a dots, but so it looks like a dots, but x squared minus 20, it would have to be x squared minus 25 squared if it was a dots. So that's it's a dots because it's got x squared minus, and it's only got 2 terms. But I wonder, can I write 25 as something squared? 25 squared, or we could just put it in our calculator, the square root of 25, what number multiplies by itself to give 25 is 5. So then my factors are, remember up here, x squared minus y squared is x minus y, x plus y. So it's going to be x minus 5. Okay? Factorize x squared plus 7x plus 12. 3 terms, there's an x squared. It's going to be a product and sum. Okay, so my product number is 12. So 2 numbers that multiply together to give 12. So factor spider, 12, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Oh, 3 and 4, 7. So it's going to be 3 and 4. So x plus 3, x plus 4. Now, it says then, use your factors to solve the equation x squared plus 7x plus 12 equals 0. So look, it's an x squared and an equal. It's a quadratic equation. So actually, we've already done our factorizing. We've already found that x squared plus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. So our first step is done, x plus 3, x plus 4 equals 0. I did that a minute ago up here. Now remember, we factorize, and then the zero law says that if 2 things multiply together to give 0, then either the first is 0 or the second is 0. So if these 2 things multiply together to give 0, 4 is equal to 0. If x plus 3 equals 0, then x is equal to, we're going to subtract 3. That would make that bracket 0. Or x plus 4 equals 0. If I subtract 4 from both sides, x is equal to 9. Well, those are my two answers. Remember, it's an equation. It's got an equals, so my answers have equals. X equals minus 3, x equals minus 4. Page. Factorize fully. Now, 3 terms. There's an x squared, but actually, look, there's 12, 8, and 4. There's a highest common factor of a number as well. So this is a highest common factor. So let's see. Let's look at the numbers first. 12, 8, and 4. It's 4. 4 goes into 4, 4 goes into 8, 4 goes into 12. Ax, x squared y, and xt, they all have x outside the bracket. Now what we can do, we can say 4, what do I have to multiply 4 by to get 12? Or you can say how many times does 4 go into times? 4 by 3 would be 12. X is there, and I need ax. So the x is gone, so I just need an a. Now 4 goes into 8 2 times. So 4 times 2 is 8. I've got an x here, but I've got to get an x squared, so I need an x to get x squared y. And then finally a plus 4 and 4, I just need a 1. I've got an x, I just need x by 3a plus 2xy plus 1t, or even just 4x by 3a plus 2xy plus t. Factorize. Oh, look, what's this? It's got an x squared and a minus, and it's got 2 terms. It's a dots. Okay, but this has got to be something. The square root of 4 is 2. 4 is equal to 2 squared. So x squared minus 2 squared. So it's the first x minus y, x plus y. Doesn't matter what order. X minus 2, x plus 2. Okay. Solve the equation. X squared minus 9x plus 20 equals 0. Look, solve the equals 0. It's a quadratic equation. Okay, it's an equation because it's. Let's look and see. My product number is 20. My sum number is minus 9. Now this is hard because we've got a minus in here. If two numbers, so to get a plus, has to be plus times plus, or it has to be minus times minus. Minus is a minus times a plus is a minus. So that's useless because I need to get a plus from my product. I have to get minus plus numbers. I can only get minus 9x with 2 minus numbers. So what I'm looking for are 2 numbers. Both first bracket, second bracket, going to be x minus and x minus. 2 numbers that multiply together to give 20 and add together 2 and 10, 4 and 5. So which of those add together to give 9? 4 and 5. 4 minus 9. So it's going to be x minus 4, x minus 5. That's a hard one. Okay, factorize 10p. Okay, 2 terms. Is there a minus? No, so it's not a dots. Is there something in common right across? Yes, there is. There's a common number and there's a common letter. Look at the numbers first. What's the highest common factor of 10 and 15? The biggest number that divides into 10 evenly and into 15 evenly is 5. So it's going to be squared t. So what's going to be in common is p. So 5p is outside the bracket. 5 goes into 10 2 times. 2 plus 5 goes into 15 3 times. P times what gives me p squared? I need a p. pt. 5p by 2q is 10pq. 5p by 3pt is 15p squared t. Those are my two factors. We've got factorize. There's an x squared and there's three terms and there's nothing in common right across. So what is it? There's no equal 0, so it's not a quadratic equation. So my product number is -4 and my sum number is 3. Now this is hard. +3. Multiply together to give -4, add together to give 3. Now if you remember a minute ago I said if the signs are the same we get plus. When we get minus. When we multiply. Now we want to get minus. That means my two brackets, one is going to be plus. One. Now, how are we going to work it out? Well, let's look at the factors of 4. 1 and 4, 2 and 4. I could have -1 by +4. I could have +1 by -4. I could have -2 by +2. I could have +2 by -2. Do any of these combinations add together to give +3? Equals +3. +1 plus -4 gives me -3. +1 minus 4 is equal to -2 plus 2 is equal to 0. +2 minus 2 is equal to 0. But -1 plus 4 is equal to 3. And +4. So x plus 4 and x minus 1. This is a hard type of question. Sometimes when they give you this question, -2x minus 15, okay, what they do is they give you one of the brackets. They say x minus what this number here is. And then you would go, well, -5 to multiply it by something to get -15 would be plus. So they give you this bit and the question, and you just have to fill in this bit. Okay. Listen, we'll talk in class, or maybe you're not in my class. You just I hope that was helpful. Don't forget to go back and look over the video again. Stop it, start it as you need to. And take care. Thanks for joining us. Bye bye.